So as you can see with the date 1787, 1788, it took them almost a year to reach Botany Bay, 9 months. And they encountered lots of hurdles when they arrived, because of course the soil was not as fertile as they had thought, was not enough rain, and well, really they had made the wrong assumptions. So you had their gang of convicts and also soldiers, but many of these convicts had never had physical work. All of them had been confined on cramped ships for almost a year, and really it was a bit strange to think that they could be turned into skilled, energetic farmhands and gardeners with just a flick of the lash. Okay, so really they had many issues when they arrived. Basically, they nearly starved to death. Okay, so over the following decades, the British advanced inland, but they saw that really a lot of the country was a desert, and they still needed to find something to create that would create wealth, that would ensure that they would have enough money to buy goods, etc., to survive. So what they did was that they imported a lot of sheep, okay, like the merino sheep, etc. So you can see the sheep there, right? So really all those desertic areas there, the desert areas, they were used for grazing. So sheep, and then later on you had cattle. And this has consequences today because it eroded the soil because of the animals, the imported animals. The soil became less and less fertile. That's one of the issues that Australia is facing today. And also they imported lots of animals from Europe, like rabbits, cats also, which killed the native wildlife. Okay, so lots of indigenous species disappeared because of the different animals that were imported by the Europeans. Okay, so they decided to import wool because it was resistant, it could be sold elsewhere, etc. Another big step in the development of Australia was the gold rush, which started in 1851. So you have Hargreaves here, which is an important figure because it's thanks to him that they discovered gold in Australia. And you see here gold diggers in Australia. So of course, as you can guess, the discovery of gold is basically a big migrant magnet. You even had board games created there. And you'll see that in the document you have to study in class, that it was also why the ships were taking the fastest route they could take. They were even taking dangerous routes to get to Australia as fast as possible. So this gold rush was also the first time, or after the European settlement at least, that the Chinese arrived in Australia. They were there temporary migrants. Most of them returned home after the gold rush, but you see on the second picture that some of them stayed. So they were not coming to Australia as independent gold diggers. They were often working for someone else, and they were not, as you probably know, welcome. Okay, so there's a lot of racism against the Chinese, which were believed to be too hardworking, okay, and taking the white men's jobs. Okay, so here, just to give you an idea, between 1852 and 1889, there were about 4,000 arrivals and 36,000 departures. Okay, but really, white Australians were scared of the Chinese. So in January 1901, the Commonwealth of Australia was created, in large part in order to find a common solution to the yellow peril. The different colonies had developed quite independently. They had their own railways. They also had their own military, so they had developed quite independently one from the others. But they thought that they needed to unite to find a solution, to tackle find a solution to the arrival of the Chinese. So just to give you an idea here, that's a quote from the Sydney Morning Herald, one of the main Australian newspapers. Any right-thinking white man needs federation to keep out the foreign races. A vote for federation is a vote for white Australia. And in 1901, the Labour Party platform, our chief plank is, of course, a white Australia. There's no compromise about that. The industrious coloured brother has to go and remain away.